Hey everyone, it's Richard Metal Fan here, bringing you guys another 2022 album review. And as you can see below the title, today we're going to be talking about the new album from the band Autopsy entitled Morbidity, Triumphant, which is out now under Peaceville Records. Now, I'm pretty sure everybody is aware of, at least heard of Autopsy. I don't really need to go much into detail with these guys. Classic death metal band from California, been around since the late 80s. And I think Autopsy, in my opinion, are a very underrated band. A lot of people will consider like Autopsy to be a pioneering band in like the death metal genre, along with like Death, which is a band that has Chris Reifert was in, and of course is Possessed as well, and which will later influence like core of like the second wave, I believe, of death metal or the legends. I'd say with like bands like Immolation, Cannibal Corpse, and Deicide. And this overall is the band's 8th full-length album. This follows up 2014's Tourniquets, Hacksaws, and Graves, and before it. And in between that, they've had like a couple EPs, like the Skull Grinder EP from 2015 and Puncturing the Grotesque EP from 2017. And with this album, I don't know how Autopsy's done it. I mean, they pretty much still sound the same as they did, even like with classic albums like Severed Survival and Metal Funeral. I think Autopsy definitely sounds great. Production-wise is great as always. Let's just talk about like the vocal work from Chris Reifert. Like his vocals are just sound insane, and he's also the drummer, and he does like some really great drumming. And I don't even know how he does the vocals and plays drums at the same time. It's just beyond me. I just think like it's just insane. The guitar work on this album is tight from Eric Cutler and Danny Corralius. There's both of them come up with some really great riffs. So just the guitar work in general on this album is great, and just the soloing is insane. And bass-wise, Greg Wilkinson, this is the first album with him in the band. His bass playing is pretty audible. So without further ado, let's dive into this album track by track. Now, starting things off is with Stab the Brain. Ugh, can't even talk today, guys. I'm sorry. Right from the get-go, this album just oozes with just infectious, just heaviness. It's thrashing, bashing, brute death, but it's also good over the top. And Chris just sounds really revolting, and he let loose an ever-flowing stream of grunts, roar, screams, and vomit noises. It's just ugh. And I also love how, I forgot to mention that Autopsy also includes a lot of like doomy elements into their sound, which is of course makes them stand out from like all the other death metal bands in like the late 80s, early 90s. And I think Stab the Brain is a really great way to start off this album. And then we go into Final Frost. Now, right here, you can immediately tell this was worth the wait. From the very start, these songs just show the band having like great two specialties: fast and blistering death metal, and the menacing kind of like doomy kind of vibes with these songs. Next song on the album is called The Voracious One. Now, this pretty much shows the band's longest penchant from doom segments shifted to sort of like a stoner-esque form, and it really works. And it almost kind of gives you a little bit of like a Black Sabbath kind of vibe when you hear this, paired with like Chris's like retching vocals, which makes this a really entertaining treat. Next on the album is called Born in Blood. Now, this song boasts a mean doom metal riff that gives way for a charging death metal beat gallop, but just comes in full circle with some impressive screaming all the way through. Next up is Flesh Strewn Temple. Now, this song is built around a riff that pretty much focuses on Chris's really sick vocals, and this, in my opinion, is like a highlight on the album. It reminds the listener that even in the most venerable of bands, this pretty much shows that you can also have like a surprise or two up your sleeve. Next up is Tapestry of Stars. Now, this is a song that pretty much is the band sort of like combining sort of like the doom and death with really intensity here. Knife Slice, Axe Chop. Now, this song is just stupidly fun, but with a seriously kind of like eerie doom breakdown too. And it's clear that the extended gap between records allowed them to sort of like pick up some new tricks on their sleeves and keep the sound iconic and fresh. And this song kind of reminds me of like something, in my opinion, probably one of the best songs they've done since probably Macabre Eternal. Now, Skin by Skin is up next. Now, this is the darkest sound on this album. It's very doomy with a hint of stoner kind of like embedded right in there. It opens with a very ferocious lead backed by some hulking great lifts, and it only gets harder and nastier from there. And the band just plays with the tempos, and they pretty much get you all psyched up when you hear it. Maggots in the Mirror. Now, musically, this song is kind of sounds a lot more grindcore than death metal, and this is the shortest song on here, which clocks in at under 2 minutes, and it comes at you fast and furious, and it has a ton of aggression, and it's very super dirty sounding, and you would expect to not have a guitar solo, but there is actually a guitar solo on here, and it sounds really perfect. Next song on the album is called Slaughterer of Souls. Now, due to this nonstop intensity and rampaging assault, I feel like there is just no weak tracks here, and we're only at the second to last song on here. And one could argue that the songs can bleed together into a bloody abomination, and there is some truth to that on the first spin or two. Within listens, the Twisted Kings pretty much with each song sort of like crawl out and bite, and the production is perfect for what Autopsy does with the loose, sloppy sound that reeks of something from like 1988. And Chris's vocals are really great, and the guitars have plenty of space that will destroy you. And then we finally close things out with Your Eyes Will Turn to Dust, and I think the song title alone is a pretty great closer. And Morbidity is just meant to just challenge and provoke the stability and the sanity of listener. And imagine this song was drawn up while taking you a guided tour through a still fresh triple murder homicide crime scene. And I think it's a strong way to end this album. Now overall, Morbidity Triumphant by Autopsy. Another great album from them, and it's worth the 8-year wait, even though there's like 2 EPs in between that and Tourniquets, Hacksaws, and Graves. So if I had to give this album a score, I'm going to give this album probably a 9 out of 10. So yep, that's my review of the new Autopsy album, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about it, and I'll see you all in the next video. And as always, keep it metal.